Hey guys, my name is Jordan Clevenger. I'm going to answer a few questions today. I get a lot of questions through social media, things about sales, business, or even just habits, life in general. And I'm a business development manager for a large company, so I work in sales. And I want to see if answering these questions brings you any value. First question here. This is a sales question. Why is it so hard for sales prospects to tell the truth? Why can't they tell you they aren't interested instead of setting appointment after appointment and telling you they don't have the money, etc.? So this question is all about perspective. So sales prospects, why don't they tell the truth? Why are they always lying to us? And if you've been in sales a while, I can promise you that you know what this question is about because in the process of selling, prospects lie. I mean, that's the truth. The people you're selling to, they they might mislead you. They might kind of misrepresent things they got going on. Not share all the information. But here's the deal: if you're in sales, um, that's not something you should worry about. You shouldn't feel slighted by what you perceive is a prospect not being honest or not making the time for you, because here's the big change you need to make as a salesperson if you want to go from average to world class. Is it's not about you. So it's really hard to understand this, especially the young folks like me that are really trying to go get after it. But the person you're selling to, if you're in sales, they never think about you. They don't know anything about you. After you're done with your interaction, they move on with their day and they haven't thought about you at all. And that's tough, but it's also kind of liberating in the same way. Once you understand that people don't really care about me, so if they do something that I take as negative, it's not actually about me, right? So you have to change your perspective and think about that. If you're going to be successful in sales, it has to be all about the person you're selling to. It has to be all about the prospect. And if you make it about you, you're really not going to have success in the long run, because you're not going to be able to communicate at the end of the day why that prospect should change what they're doing and go with your solution. So this question, I think the question is a little bit misguided. I don't think the goal, I don't think that we should worry about how prospects behave, because they behave how they behave. What we should worry about is what's our perspective and what are we bringing to the table to make something happen. So hope that helps. Second question. Why is it better to have a job for 10 plus years than a new one every 2 years or every 2 to 3 years or less? So this is a really interesting question. This question's about experience. So is it better to, and the way they word this one, they're assuming it's better, but I think that's debatable. But is it better to have a job for 10 years, 10 plus years, long-term steady job, or is it better to switch jobs every 2 to 3 years? And this question to me is all about the concept of width versus depth. And both of these concepts are crucial, right? Depth, 10 plus years doing the same thing. After that amount of time, you know all the nuances. You can guess anything that's going to be happening. You have that intuition to know exactly what's coming down the pipe. And that's super valuable. That's one thing that's in very short supply in almost every industry, is people that are knowledgeable in a deep way, that have been around for a long time, have seen it all, and can apply that really specific deep knowledge. While the concept of width, that's switching jobs every 2 to 3 years. That's jack of all trades. That's I'm going to go here and then do that and get this experience here. And I think millennials, younger people are very familiar and definitely have an impulse that once I kind of get the experience and I know what's going on, I need to switch and do something else. And width is also important, but it's not important in the way that I want to like stack all of my experiences so I can say I did this and that and that and that. The reason I think width is important is if you're leveraging the perspectives you gain from switching from this to this to this. So if you can put in the big picture all the different things you're doing, connect the dots and build a bigger picture, I think the idea of going really wide and trying a lot of things is very helpful. But it's a balance, right? One's not better than the other, but you have to keep both ideas in mind. You have to be able to balance both ideas in your head of I want to get a broad range of experiences, but I also need to be able to go deep to really offer value that's going to separate you from other people. So why is it better? I don't know that it's better, but I do know that you got to go deep and you got to go wide to get a full range of experiences. So third question, how do you determine if your day has been productive? So how do I determine if my day has been productive? This is a really good one. And the answer comes before the end of the day. So the answer actually comes at the beginning of the day. Because if I want to know how has my day been productive, I have to know in the morning, what am I going to do that's going to make my day productive? I have to know what are my goals, what are my targets, and what am I going to strategically place as my priorities for today, knowing that those priorities are the most important thing on my list. And so that's really the key, is you pick at the beginning of the day, what if I do this, I can put a stamp on this and say my day was productive. So the key to determining that is really outlining it in the beginning so that you can knock it off at the end. And then the beautiful part about that is you don't have to second guess the full 8-10 hours of how you spent your day and whether that was productive or not, because you know that if you marked off your list and you got the most important things done, you know it was productive. All right, this is the last question here. So how can I trust someone without feeling vulnerable and being scared of betrayal or / disappointment in this person? This is kind of an interpersonal question. So how can I trust someone without feeling vulnerable? This is a big deal. Trust is a very important concept with all of our relationships. It doesn't matter if it's business or if it's personal. Trust is kind of the capital that builds up and makes the relationship work. You need to have lots of trust to have a really healthy, functioning relationship. And you need to be able to give trust, right? You need to be able to let go and be able to say to somebody, you know what? I know you got this. But how do you do that without feeling vulnerable? I think you really have to look inward and say, if I feel vulnerable, it's because I see myself as somebody who's not strong enough to deal with the negative outcomes. Because at the end of the day, if you feel vulnerable, it's because you feel like you're in danger. And this person mentions being scared of betrayal or disappointment. If you feel like you can't handle betrayal, first you got to define what you mean by betrayal. But secondly, one of the best solutions to not feeling vulnerable is to get stronger. Honestly, that's the best way to feel like you're not 1 second away from getting betrayed by somebody and falling into a deep depression. How about you strengthen yourself to the point where even if they do betray you, it's not going to knock you down a peg, because you know that you know who you are, and you know what you bring to the table. So the answer to this is, it's easy to trust somebody. It's hard to trust them and completely surrender. But one of the things that will make it a lot easier to surrender will be really making yourself stronger, building up your own self-esteem, so that no matter what the outcome, you know you're good to go, because you're strong enough to handle it. So that's it. Let me know what you guys think about this video. Comment below. Let me know, and thank you.